You don't need $500,000 to retire on a trawler yacht. You don't even need $200,000. Right now, there are trawlers on the used market that cost less than a used RV, less than a new pickup truck, and in some cases, less than a year of rent in most American cities. And people are living on them full time. But here's the problem. When you're shopping on a budget, not every cheap trawler is actually a good deal. And when you're in your 60s or 70s, you need a boat that's kind to your body, not just your wallet. So in this video, we found the 5 cheapest trawler yachts that are actually worth buying for senior couples who want to live aboard. We're starting with the most affordable and working our way up. Every boat on this list can be had for well under what you'd pay for a modest condo. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, and also the cheapest boat on this list by a wide margin, the Marine Trader 34 double cabin. If you've ever searched for trawlers under $50,000, you've already seen a dozen of these. Built in Taiwan by Changhua Boat from 1972 all the way through 2001, this boat was imported by the thousands. You'll find them everywhere, from the Chesapeake to the Pacific Northwest, and that means parts, knowledge, and mechanics are never far away. Let's talk price, because this is where it gets wild. You can find a solid Marine Trader 34 for $25,000 to $50,000. That's not a down payment, that's the whole boat. For the price of a mid-range sedan, you've got a floating home with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. She measures 34 feet long with an 11-foot 9-inch beam. Most carry a single Ford Lehman 120 diesel. That engine is an absolute legend. It sips about 2 gallons per hour at 7 knots and routinely goes over 20,000 hours before needing a major overhaul. Fuel capacity runs 200 to 300 gallons, giving you a range of 900 nautical miles or more. Now, what makes this boat special for a retired couple is the double cabin layout. You get 2 full staterooms and 2 heads in just 34 feet. The aft master has a walk-around double berth, and the forward cabin works as a guest room or an office. The interior is full teak, absolutely gorgeous. The single engine keeps things simple. The full keel protects the prop and rudder. And at this price, you can afford to add a bow thruster for easier docking and still be well under budget. But here's the catch. Deck rot is the #1 concern. Those teak decks are screwed through fiberglass, creating thousands of potential leak points. Avoid anything built before 1975 because those early models had plywood superstructure. And budget an extra $15,000 to $30,000 for deferred maintenance on anything under 40 grand. Bottom line, if you're handy with tools and you want the cheapest possible entry into trawler life, this is your boat. At number 4, the Monk 36. Now we're stepping up in quality, but we're still firmly in affordable territory. This boat proves you don't have to sacrifice good design just because you're on a budget. Designed by Ed Monk Jr., who is basically the godfather of Pacific Northwest boat design, 258 of these were built between 1982 and 2007. The early boats were built in Taiwan, but starting in 1992, production moved to Nova Scotia, Canada. The Canadian-built boats are considered superior, and they command a premium. You'll find a good Monk 36 for $55,000 to about $120,000. To put that in perspective, the Taiwan boats at the lower end cost less than a new bass boat. The Canadian boats run higher, but still well under what you'd pay for a Nordic tug or an American tug of similar size. She stretches to just under 40 feet overall thanks to her bowsprit, with a generous 13-foot beam. That extra beam matters when you're living aboard. Early models carry the Ford Lehman 120 or Perkins 6354. Later, Canadian boats got Cummins 4BT or 6BTA diesels, which are modern, powerful, and parts are available everywhere. For seniors, the Pilot House helm is a huge win. You're driving from inside out of the weather with great visibility. The walk-around side decks have proper rails. The full keel protects the running gear. And the Ed Monk design philosophy means the interior just flows. It feels bigger than it is. Watch out for black iron fuel tank corrosion. That's the big ticket repair on these boats. Also check for stainless steel stern tube pitting and aft deck core softness. The sweet spot? A well-maintained Taiwan-built boat from the late 80s in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. For a 40-foot Pilot House trawler designed by Ed Monk Jr., that is an incredible deal. Number 3 is the Mainship 390, and if you ask experienced cruisers what the best bang for your buck trawler on the used market is, this name comes up over and over again. This is the boat that gives you modern everything at a fraction of what comparable boats cost. Built from 1999 to about 2003 in Midway, Georgia, this boat hits a price-to-value sweet spot that older boats simply cannot. Modern systems, modern engines, a real liveaboard layout, and prices that are shockingly reasonable for what you get. Expect to pay $80,000 to $140,000 for a clean example. Now that might sound like more money than the first two boats, but consider this. You're getting a boat with modern Cat or Yanmar diesels, modern wiring, modern plumbing, and none of the Taiwanese trawler headaches. Dollar for dollar, this might be the smartest buy on the list. At 39 feet with a 14.5-foot beam, this boat has interior volume that rivals 42-footers from older designs. She's powered by either a single Caterpillar 3126 at 300 horsepower or a Yanmar 6 LPA at 370. Both are well-supported modern diesels. Now here's what makes this boat a standout for seniors. The galley is up on the main salon level. That eliminates the most common stairway on a trawler. No more climbing up and down just to make dinner. The master stateroom has an island queen berth, so neither partner has to climb over the other to get in and out of bed. Small detail, big deal when you're 65 or 70. She burns 3 to 4 gallons per hour at trawler speeds, and here's a bonus. She can push up to 14 knots when you need to outrun weather or make a schedule. That's a flexibility most displacement trawlers simply don't have. The downside? Mainship went bankrupt in 2008, so there's no factory support. Some owners report cheap hardware and chromed plastic fittings. And the Cat 3126 engine has known issues with fuel injectors at high hours. Get an oil analysis before you buy. A clean 2000 to 2002 model in the $90,000 to $120,000 range is the sweet spot. For a modern turnkey liveaboard trawler, that's hard to beat at any price. Dozens of these boats have completed the Great Loop. At number 2, we have a true legend and proof that you can buy a serious offshore passage maker without taking out a second mortgage, the DeFever 44 offshore cruiser. Arthur DeFever is widely considered the godfather of the modern trawler yacht, and the 44 is his most popular design. Built in Taiwan from the early 80s through the 2000s, this boat was made for serious offshore work. Brand new, a comparable blue water trawler today would run you well over $500,000. Used, you can get in for a fraction of that. Prices range from $100,000 to $200,000 depending on condition and year. For a 44-foot offshore capable yacht with a walk-in engine room, that is an absolute steal. At 44 feet with a 14-foot beam, she displaces a hefty 48,000 pounds. This is a full displacement hull. Most carry twin Ford Lehman 135s, burning a combined 3.8 gallons per hour at 7 knots. With the large tank option holding over 1,000 gallons of fuel, range exceeds 2,000 nautical miles. That's Bahamas territory. But here's the feature that puts this boat on a senior's list. The DeFever 44 has a flush deck design. The aft deck and the side decks are all on the same level. There are no step-ups to trip over when you're moving from stern to bow. That single continuous surface is a game changer for anyone with mobility concerns. The aft deck itself is like a covered back porch. Many owners set up a table and chairs out there for meals. And the engine room? It's a walk-in space with full standing headroom. You can comfortably service both engines, the generator, everything, without crawling into tight spaces. When you're 70 years old, that matters. Now the warnings. Quality varies a lot depending on which Taiwan yard built the hull. Unauthorized copies do exist. Insist on documentation. She can roll hard in beam seas without stabilizers. So budget for paravans or a gyro if you plan to go offshore. And at 48,000 pounds, haul-out costs are not cheap. Look for a well-surveyed 1988 to 1995 model in the 120 to 175 range. That's a lot of blue water trawler for the money. And at number 1, the most expensive boat on this list, but still remarkably affordable for what it is. The Cody Krogan 42. This is the boat that was literally built for the audience watching this video. Launched in 1977, this was the boat that pioneered the full displacement trawler yacht concept for American recreational boaters. About 205 hulls were built through 1998, and here's a number that tells you everything. 75% of all Cady Krogan owners live aboard at least part of the year. Most of them are retired. Prices range widely, from $90,000 for an early 80s project boat, up to $250,000 for a well-maintained late 80s to early 90s example that's ready to move aboard. Now, $250,000 might not sound cheap on its own, but consider what you're getting. A proven blue water trawler with over 2,000 miles of range that people are literally living on for decades. A new Cady Krogan today starts around $1.2 million. So even at the top of this price range, you're paying about 20 cents on the dollar. At 42 feet with a 13-foot beam and 5 feet of draft, she's powered by a single Ford Lehman 135 SP diesel. Fuel capacity is a massive 700 gallons. At 7.5 knots, she burns about 2 gallons per hour. Do the math. That's a range of over 2,200 nautical miles on a single fill. You could cross from the mainland to the Caribbean without stopping for fuel. Katie Krogan specifically designs for single-level living with minimal steps throughout the boat. The raised pilot house has 360 visibility and includes a pilot berth for the off-watch crew. A Portuguese bridge with wing stations lets the helmsman step outside for docking while keeping the controls close. The engine room has full standing headroom, remarkable for a 42-footer. The round bottom hull delivers the gentlest motion in a seaway of any boat on this list. For older bodies on long passages, that matters more than almost anything else. The community is another hidden advantage. Katie Krogan owners form one of the tightest, most supportive groups in all of boating, with an active owners association, rallies, and informal mentoring for new buyers. Watch out for moisture intrusion in the foam core on pre-93 hulls. One owner reportedly drained 50 gallons of water during a refit. She can roll in beam Cs without stabilizers, so paravanes are strongly recommended. And at 5 feet of draft, you'll be locked out of some shallow Bahamas anchorages. But if your dream is to retire on the water and actually go places, this is the boat that was built for you. So there you have it. 5 trawler yachts that prove you don't need to be wealthy to retire on the water. From a $25,000 marine trader that costs less than a new car, all the way up to a Katie Krogan 42 that's still a fraction of what a new trawler costs today. The trawler liveaboard dream is more affordable than most people think. But no matter which boat catches your eye, remember this. At these price levels, the condition of the specific boat matters far more than the brand on the hull. A pampered marine trader will serve you better than a neglected Krogan every single time. Always get a marine survey from someone who knows trawlers and budget 10% of purchase price per year for maintenance. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. We've got more live aboard content coming every week. Drop a comment below and tell us which of these 5 would you pick and what's your budget. Also, tell us what would you like to see more of on our channel. We'll see you in the next one.